you're looking to build a website with easy to follow steps in 90 minutes or less at no cost to you, then you've come to the right place.
Hi, I'm Bethany, and today we're at the showroom for one of our clients, Jim Gray Designs. This company specializes in high-end audio-video solutions. They needed a new website that would show the quality of their work and be visually impressive, mobile-friendly, and easy to navigate. The website turned out so well that my husband and I decided to make a tutorial to show others how to make Jim Gray's new website. Have fun, and if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe.
Thanks, Bethany. Hello, I'm Yoda, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this website tutorial, you'll learn how to build a website that has an amazing intro video, professional logo, eye-catching graphics, and all the bells and whistles the pros use at absolutely no cost to you. This video will use all the current web design and web development techniques to build a fully responsive website that automatically adjusts to meet the screen needs of any computer, laptop, tablet, phone, or any other handheld device. To get started, the only hard cost we have is web hosting, and that's where your website lives, and that's going to run us $3 to $10 a month. With your web hosting, you'll get a free domain, a value of $15, as well as an SSL key, which makes your web pages secure, and that has a value of about $99. As for software requirements, there are none. Everything we're going to need, we're going to do online. As for system requirements, this website tutorial is compatible with both Windows and iOS systems. All you need is your favorite browser and access to the internet, and you're ready to go. I recommend Chrome and Firefox as browsers of choice, as I've had some students in the past that had complaints about compatibility issues with Safari, Opera, and Internet Explorer. Now, during this course, if you run into any troubles, just leave a comment below the video and I'll be more than happy to assist you. And don't be shy about asking for help. I've been a webmaster instructor, aka the Web Yoda, for over 20 years, and I love to hear from my students. But if you could, please pay it forward. If you could like the video, subscribe to the video, share the video, tell your friends about the video. Those are the kind of things that help get the word out there so other students like you can find this video. There was something else. Oh, at the end of this video, I'm going to discuss the 4 biggest mistakes people make that drastically hurt your search engine placement. Turns out the solutions for these 4 things are really easy and they're free. So I think we're ready to get started. So without further delay, let's go ahead and look at the website we're going to build today. Let's go ahead and visit the Jim Gray Designs website. Now, definitely don't get intimidated. I know this is going to look really fancy. It's going to look very professional, but you're going to be able to do all this. Trust me, it's not going to be a problem at all. Now, his website starts with this video intro. We're going to learn how to build one of those. Now, notice how this text flies into place at just the right moment once the home page is revealed. You're going to be able to learn how to do that effect as well as all the other effects that are shown in this website. Now, you're not just a passive participant sitting in the audience watching a magic show as I put the show on. You're actually going to learn behind the scenes how to do all this. It's very simple, it's very easy, and you're going to be surprised how quickly you can build this entire website. As we scroll down the home page, watch for the special effects. Notice how the images fly in. Notice how these things come in gradually. Notice how the images pop in, how the text pops in. All these type special effects you're going to learn how to do. We're going to be able to build this carousel. Notice how this little white area is sitting on top of a background and that sits still. We're going to be able to build this footer down here, and then we'll be able to reproduce that for every single page so it looks the same. Now, our overall strategy for building this website is that we're going to learn how to do everything you see here on the home page step by step. And then for the additional pages, we'll load something that's almost complete and just learn how to do the new things that are added to those pages so you don't have to build everything from scratch. Pretty much everything you see on the About Us page, we did something similar to it on the home page. However, where the Jim Gray signature is, we're going to learn how to insert that and then resize it to be the size we want it to be. On the services page, the service gallery is very similar to the services on the home page, so we won't need to reproduce that. But at the very bottom, there's a guarantee section that we need to make a mobile-friendly version of, and we're going to see how to do that. The rates page introduces some really fancy rate tables. We're going to learn how to do those. And everything else about this page is something that we've pretty much done before. In the showroom, we're going to learn how to build this super fancy gallery. Now, this is also a lightbox gallery, so if you click on any one of these, it brings it up in a lightbox, and then you can scroll through them, and it doesn't matter where you start. If you come down and you pick a different one, it'll start with that one. And then as you scroll around, it'll go from there. The menu item News is actually a pull-down and not a page itself, and it reveals the pages you can choose from. We'll learn how to do this menu trick right here. The Wirenuts page is Jim Gray Designs' newsletter page, and we're going to learn how to add the most recent newsletter to the top of this section. The Articles page is a collection of magazine articles about Jim Gray Designs. We're going to learn how to add an image and then learn how to make that image clickable to a PDF file. We'll learn how to make a Contact Us page, including inserting a form and inserting a map. And with this website, we're also going to make a get a quote page where we have a separate form. In this case, it asks a little bit more about the project that somebody wants a quote for, and it doesn't have a map at the bottom because there's no reason to have a map for that. Now, if everything goes as planned, you'll be able to build this entire website in 90 minutes time. So we're ready to start on our website, but before we can build a website, we have to have a place for our website to live, and that's what web hosting does for you. Otherwise, you'd build a website on your local computer, but only you'd be able to see it. You want to be able to have the world see it, so you have to get hosting so everybody else can see your results. The next question is, who are you going to get hosting from? Because obviously there's a lot of choices out there. WebYoda did some research where they came across some very non-biased results where PC Magazine conducted an Editor's Choice Award for web hosting. And shown here are the top 6 results from that Editor's Choice Award. And of the 6, HostGator was the #1 pick for PC Magazine's Editor's Choice Award. Their features were amazing, their 24/7 support was amazing, their reliability and security was amazing, and their pricing was as good or better than any other options out there. So WebYoda decided to go with HostGator, and they use that for all their students and any websites they build, and we'll also be using HostGator for this course as well. So at this point, we're going to go to hostgator.com/WebYoda. And the reason for that link is that now WebYoda has a partnership with HostGator. Thereby, every time a hosting package is sold through that partnership, a small portion of that goes to the WebYoda Foundation. And the WebYoda Foundation, in turn, uses that money to build more free courses like this one, as well as provide free training for students in training centers and online all over the world who are unable to afford it themselves. Now this takes you to the partner page for HostGator and WebYoda, and it reveals our 3 choices for hosting plans. Currently, as part of this partnership, HostGator is going to offer us a free domain name provided we sign up for one of their annual plans, and it turns out this is actually the most affordable choice for us. If we scroll down, we can reveal the pricing for each of the plans. All 3 of the plans come with one-click install, so that means when we go to install the software it's going to allow us to build our website, we can just click a link and it'll install everything for us. They also come with unmetered bandwidth, which means we don't pay for the traffic that comes to our website, no matter how small or large that might be. And finally, they also come with a free SSL certificate, which typically runs around $99 a year. And you say, okay, what is that? What do I need that for? Well, that's that little lock up here in the top left. It allows your page to be secure so that the information going to and from your website is secure. At this point, you need to decide which one of the plans is best for you. For our purposes, I'd recommend the hatchling plan if you have one domain, or the baby plan if you plan on building multiple websites. And then if later you find you need additional features, you can just upgrade to the business plan and pay the difference. So in your case, you probably need the hatchling plan, which is just a single domain, so we'll choose that. The first step for signing up for hosting is to choose a domain name. In our case, it's jimgraydesigns.com, but you will pick a domain that's appropriate for your website project. Now once you enter the domain name, you can click to the right and it'll tell you whether or not it's available. Now Jim Gray Designs already exists because the site already exists, but if we add a 1 on the end of that just for this example, we'll see that it shows up as available. Now scroll down to the bottom of this section, and there's an option of whether or not to have domain privacy protection. When you purchase a domain, by default somebody can look up who owns the domain and it'll show you as the owner. It has your contact information, your email, and your phone. Now if you don't want that information to display for the world, if that matters to you, then you're going to want to choose domain privacy protection to hide your personal information. Now for us, since that same information is found on the contact page for jimgraydesigns.com, there's really no reason for us to have this privacy protection in my opinion, so we're going to turn that off and save the $14.95 a year. Step 2, we need to choose our hosting plan billing cycle. We'll give a username of admin Yoda for me and pick a security pin. Now we already chose our hatchling plan since we only have one domain, and now we need to choose our billing cycle. Now the billing cycle starts at 1 month, where we can get the first month at 50% off, all the way to 36 months. Now notice at 36 months it's $2.71 a month, whereas 12 months is $2.58 a month, whereas 1 month is at $5.48. Now the problem is that at 1 month we don't get the free domain. At 3 months and 6 months we don't get the free domain. So let's choose the 12 months so we can get the free domain and just see what that's going to cost us. Next you need to enter your billing information of how you're going to pay for your hosting. In step 4, they want to sell you on some additional services. The first is an SSL certificate. We already get one of those free through the partnership, so there's no reason to pay for an additional one. The second is protect yourself from hackers, but I already know that HostGator does this for you. This is not really going to buy you anything. They're going to protect themselves from you as well as hackers, so I'm not going to pay for that feature. The third is for setting up email. I'm going to show you how to set up a free email forward, so there's no reason to purchase that. And the next is a feature to back up your website regularly. HostGator is going to back your website up monthly, and if you go to the link here above, I'll show you how you can back up your website yourself and avoid this fee. They also offer search engine optimization tools, but I'm going to show you how to get all these for free as well. So we didn't need this. And the next section is the coupon code, which it by default inserted WebYoda. And notice what that's going to get you. It's literally 75% off and a free domain name. And remember, you have 45 days money back guarantee. If you decide not to do this, you can get your money back. Now we're ready to agree to their terms of service and choose the Checkout Now button to complete your purchase. Now that your payment is complete, HostGator is getting your account ready for you. Now your hosting account is complete and you're ready to access your hosting account. Next, just proceed to your email account and look for an email from HostGator.com that has your account information. If you purchase a domain name while setting up your HostGator account, then the next piece of information will not apply to you. If you already owned your domain name and didn't purchase one with this process, you're going to need to get your domain name to point to your hosting area. To do that, you need to point your domain name to the name servers for HostGator. All of my domain names live at GoDaddy.com, so I needed to go into the DNS at my GoDaddy account and point that domain to the HostGator name servers as shown here. Now, if you're not using GoDaddy.com, it should be a similar process, and if you have any trouble, just contact your domain company and they can give you further assistance. To log into our hosting account, we're going to need our username and we're going to need a password. We're going to take that password and we're going to copy it to the clipboard. And now you want to go to the control panel, which is how you access your hosting space. So we'll click on this link, and that takes us to the control panel login page. Now my username and password are already there, so I can just choose login. You would have put your username and password in there. And that takes you to the home page for your HostGator control panel, also referred to as cPanel by some people. As promised, instead of having to pay for emails for your new domain name, I'm going to show you how to set up an email forward and avoid that fee. You're looking for the email forwards option, which is right here, but if for some reason it's not under your popular links, you can go to email on the left and it'll bring up all the email options, and then you can choose email forwards. To create an email forward, just choose on add forwarder, and this is the email address you want to forward, so in this case it's just going to be the name Jim, and then we're going to choose the domain. Now you're just going to have one domain most likely in here instead of a potload of them like I do. And I'm going to choose Jim Gray Designs. So it's going to forward from jim@jimgraydesigns.com, and the destination I'm going to put his Gmail account, which is jimgraydesigns@gmail.com. Now we simply choose the Add Forwarder button, and now at any time an email is sent to jim@jimgraydesigns.com, it'll automatically be forwarded to jimgraydesigns@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and go back to our HostGator control panel. We'll click on that right there. And now we're ready to install the software that's going to allow us to build our website. In our case, it's WordPress. So we're going to choose the WordPress link inside of popular links. And then you want to choose your domain name. In your case, you probably just have one domain to choose from, and you'll just select that domain. Now, typically, I'd just be clicking on the jimgraydesigns.com, but since that website already exists, I needed to make another one. In this case, it's new at jimgraydesigns.com for this example. So I'm going to select my domain name. We're not going to choose a directory name, so we can hit on Next. Your blog title is basically the name of your website, so in this case, we're going to put Jim Gray Designs. The admin user, I'm going to put Yoda user. Username, I'm going to put Yoda Yoda. For email address, I'm going to put yoda@webyoda.com. It'll automatically create a database for us. We have to agree to their terms of service, and we'll click Install. The install process doesn't take very long. Notice it goes to 60%, but it says installation is complete. Well, why does it only say 60%? If you scroll down, you'll see they want to sell you stuff. They want to set this up for you, or they want to sell you a theme. So we're looking at $50 to $200. We don't want to pay that. Instead, we're going to do it all ourselves. It's easy to do. At this point, we're probably going to have to take a small break, and that's because we just set up a hosting account that has a new domain. The hosting's immediately available, but the domain takes a while to propagate across the internet so that it's able to be accessed. To test to see if your domain's ready, the first step is to open a new tab so you don't lose access to the username and password of what we just set up. Now go to your domain name. In our case, it's jimgraydesigns.com, which we originally set up. And if your domain's not ready, you'll get a message that says this site cannot be reached. So you'll likely need to take a break for about 2 hours, and then come back again and go back to your domain and refresh and see if it works. When it's ready, you'll get a page that looks like this one that says website coming soon. So we've put in our time, we're ready to move forward. So let's go ahead and close that test tab. Now we're looking at our control panel again. First thing we need to do is copy this crazy password because nobody's going to remember that. And then we click on Login, and that takes us to the login screen for our new website. One of the first skills you need to learn when you want to build your own website is how to find the login screen. Easy enough. You go up to your URL, type in your domain name, /wp-admin, hit enter, and there you go. So here you type in your username. In my case, it's Yoda user. You paste in that crazy password, and you choose login. And you don't want to save this password right now because we're about to change it, so we'll choose close on that. And they just wanted to verify this is the correct email address in case notifications need to be sent to you about your website. So we'll click email is correct. And now we're into our hosting environment. Now, often is the case, they'll have little promotions. All this stuff here is probably not anything we're going to use. They're just trying to sell stuff. And little pop-ups, we can close that because we're not going to need that. The first thing we want to do is to change that password to something that's manageable. So we want to click on users. That's going to bring up the only user we have. Go ahead and click on the username. Scroll down. And you'll see a box for generate new password. In the generate new password, let's hide so you don't see what's going on. You choose a new password. And if your new password's weak, you just need to confirm it's a weak password. Hit update profile. And now your password's been changed. Now at this point, I typically would log back out and log back in with our new password. Now that WordPress is installed and we successfully changed our password, let's get organized a little bit so we can get started on our website. First of all, we no longer need this tab over here, so we can close that one. Now I want to open up a tab to the right to view our website. If I click right here, I can choose View Site, but if I right-click, I can open it in a new tab. And now we're looking at our new website. Not very impressive right now, but we're about to fix that. Let's also open another tab to the right and open the completed Jim Gray Designs website as a reference site so we can see what we're going to build. So we're going to be going from this to this. That's our goal. We're going to make it happen. Let's go back to our dashboard. Now before we get too deep into this, let me add some highlighting to the mouse to make it a little easier for you to follow what I'm doing. There, that's a little bit better. A frequently asked question that comes up is, how do I get back to a particular spot in the video to see what I was doing, or how do I get back to where I was at to start a particular place? The answer to that is you go to the video you're watching. When you scroll to the bottom of the video you're watching, this is obviously a different video that I made, you'll see a section that says Show More. You choose on Show More and you scroll down and it's going to have timestamps. You click on any of these and it takes you to that exact spot. So any of the features that we use in here and you want to get directly to that, you can come to these timestamps, click on it, and go forward from there. There's a couple more things we need to add to our WordPress environment before we're actually ready to start building our web page. The first of those is a theme. So let's go ahead and go to a new tab in our browser, and you're going to want to go to webyoda.com/themes, which you can also get to that under resources and go to themes. And then you want to scroll down to the particular project you're doing. So in this case, we're doing Jim Gray Designs, and then we're going to click on the Astra theme. That downloaded the theme to our downloads folder. We can close that tab. And now we want to go to Appearance, Themes, and we're ready to add that new theme. So at the top, we're going to choose Upload, Upload Theme, and then scroll down to where it says Choose a File. And if you're not at your Downloads folder, go ahead and choose your Downloads folder, select the Astra theme, click Open, and choose Install. Once the install is complete, theme installed successfully, we'll choose Activate, which activates that theme. Now our theme is activated, so if we go back to the site we're going to build and we hit Reload, you'll see that it's changed a little bit because now it's a different theme, but there's still a whole lot of nothing going on. Next, we need to add the needed plugins to make our WordPress website. So we're going to choose Plugins from the dashboard, choose Installed Plugins, and our first step is to get rid of all the plugins that are there because we're not going to need any. So let's scroll down, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're just not going to need any of it. So we're going to choose this little checkbox at the top next to Plugin, and that selects all of them. Under Bulk Actions, we're going to choose Deactivate. You have to deactivate them first. You hit Apply. Now we can choose the plugin checkbox again to select them all. From Bulk Actions this time, choose Delete, Apply, and OK, yes, we really want to do that. And it will delete all of the plugins that are in our website environment. Now we're ready to add our own plugins. And to do that, we're going to open another tab again. We're going to go to webyoda.com/plugins. Again, that's also available through the Resources tab if we want to go to Plugins right there. And then we want to scroll down to the project we're doing, in this case, Jim Gray Designs, and we're going to download each of these. One of the questions I get is, why don't you just download them inside the WordPress environment? It will allow you to get them directly from the library. And the answer is not everybody's using the same WordPress, and not every environment may have all the plugins we're using. I want to guarantee you have all those. So we want to click on each one of these, and it's going to download them to our computer. And just a brief understanding, the Astra Starter Sites is a bunch of website starter kits, so we don't have to build everything from scratch. The Contact Form 7 and the CF7 Elementor are what we're going to use to make our contact forms. And the duplicate page is going to allow us to make duplicates inside of our website environment, so we don't have to do everything from scratch every time. So we can close that tab. And back to our dashboard, now we can click on Add New for our plugins. We're going to choose Upload Plugin, choose File. Doesn't matter what order you do these in, we'll just start at the top. We'll choose that one first. Open. Install now. Be sure to activate the plugins. Add New. Upload Plugin. Choose File. We'll choose the second one. Open. Install now. Activate Plugin. 2 more to go. Add New. Upload Plugin. Choose File. Third one. Open. Install now. Activate Plugin. And the final one, Add New. Upload Plugin. Choose File. Pick the last one. Open. Install now. Activate Plugin. And so now all of our plugins are installed, but notice there's this little update stuff next to each one of these. We can choose all the plugins again like we did before. Under Bulk Actions, we can say Update, Apply Now, and that updates all of our plugins. Now, often as is the case, there could be updates to your plugins and to your theme. We already saw how to update your plugins. Now, to update your theme, you go to Appearance, you go to Themes. Yours should be the one right here if it's the active one. In this case, there is an update for that. We'll choose Update Now, and now our theme is up to date. So now we're going to go back to Plugins, and we're ready to get started. We're going to use the Astra Starter Sites. We're going to choose See Library, and this is going to reveal the choices of the types of themes, the types of templates they have available. We're going to be using Elementor. We'll choose Next. And what you're looking at is all the starter websites they have available to choose from. Basically, you can install any of these websites, and you start with the website already built, and then you just make the updates and changes to that website as you see needed. Now, you'll notice there's a difference in some of them. Notice the word agency is next to them. If you see an agency, that means that that's one that if you needed that one, you're going to pay for it, and they're typically a lot nicer. For this course, we're going to use one of the free Astra Starter Sites, but I found for the 20 or so websites I build a year that about half of them I use a free starter site and half of them I use a paid starter site. And the reason is, for some of my clients, I find that there's a paid version of a starter site that's almost exactly what I need, and for the price, I really can't beat it. But this is something you'll have to make your own decision on. And I really encourage you to go to webyoda.com/Astra, and then you can just look at the free versions and the paid versions and make up your mind yourself. We're going to be using one of the free templates, so if we click on free, it'll reveal only the free templates, and we're going to choose from one of these to build our website. Now, when you move your mouse over, you can get a general idea of the types of information that are in there. Now, for us, we're going to choose one called Car Wash, and then we're just going to click on Preview, and then we'll hit Import Site. Now, it says this could take 2 to 10 minutes, but I found this doesn't take very long at all. Import's complete. It took a total of 40 seconds. It says View Site here, but we have a tab. We go over here and hit our Reload button. And now we have a fully functional car wash website. And notice it looks a lot like the one that we built. It's just that we've changed out a lot of the content in it. But it's really a fully functional website. Everything about it's already ready to go. All you need to do is make the changes to the text, the changes to the images, the content, and you're ready to off and running. Let's go back to our dashboard. So to do that, we're going to just click the X right here. And the first thing I want to do is to create a bunch of empty pages. To do that, I'm going to choose the Pages option from the dashboard. And notice there's a whole bunch of pages that are here already. I'm going to select sample page, the WP forms, and then I'm going to say bulk action, remove, apply. I don't need those. Same thing with this. You can also get rid of ones by just choosing trash. When you highlight it, it shows you extra features. I can choose trash, and that's another way of getting rid of pages. Now in our case, we're going to go ahead and use the rest of these pages, and we'll either make duplicates where we need extra pages, or we'll rename some. So just see where we're at. If we go to Jim Gray's website, we need about, services, rates, showroom, 2 pages under here, Wirenuts articles, contact us, and get quote. So we come back over here. The first thing we'll do is we're going to change this one, just call it rates. So we can, if you highlight it, it shows the quick options. We're just going to change this to rates. And then we're going to give it a slug name of rates, all lowercase. The slug name is the actual name of the page itself. It already says publish. We'll hit update. And if you come back over here and hit reload, you'll see that that's changed. So back to our dashboard. And as of now, we have 5 pages. All of these are named similar to what we need, but we need 4 additional pages. So for the About page, I'm going to choose, select it. I'm just highlighting it, and I'm going to choose Duplicate this. And that's where that little Duplicate plugin came in handy. Duplicate this page. That's 2. Duplicate this page. That's 3. Duplicate this page. That's 4. And now we have our 4 new pages. And now we just need to rename those pages to the names of the pages we're going to use on our website. So we'll rename the first one. So I'll highlight it, quick edit. This will be Showroom. And I'll put Showroom as our slug name or our page name. I'm going to choose Publish and hit Update. Now we'll rename the second one. And it'll be called Wirenuts. We'll also make the slug name and page name Wirenuts. We'll choose Publish, Update. Our third page is going to be Articles. Our slug name and page name will also be Articles. We'll change the status to Publish. And our final new page will be Get Quote. We'll just set the slug name of that to Quote. We'll publish, scroll down, hit Update. And now we have all the pages we need to build our website. If we go back over, we can hit Reload. And you'll see that the names don't show up in the list. And this doesn't say quote. That's because even though we've added the pages, we haven't told the menu what to have in there, and we're going to do that next. So let's go back to our dashboard. And under Appearance, choose Menus. And now all the new pages that we've added are all going to be listed here. So we can just check the checkboxes next to all the ones that we just added and choose Add to Menu. And now they're all in our menu. Now we want to make a special custom link, and this custom link is going to be called News. That's going to be the pull down that we're going to have Wirenuts and articles in that we talked about. And for the URL, just put a # because you have to put something there for it to add it to the menu. We'll hit Add Menu. And if we scroll to the bottom, here's the news. Now if we open that one up, we can take the URL away because we don't really want it to be clickable. So that'll make it so it's not clickable. Now if we go back to our website, we can see the order: About, Services, Rates, Showroom, News, Contact, Get Quote. So we're going to do just that. Now notice at the top there's a Home. Well, on websites these days, they don't normally put a Home button. You can, it's your choice. But normally the logo will take you to the home page, and people are getting accustomed to that as opposed to having a home button. So it's up to you whether or not you have a home button. In our case, we're going to get rid of that one, so we can do the pull down and choose Remove. We're going to drag up and put our About at the top. Services is in the right place. Rates is in the right place. Showroom. News. And then under News goes Wirenuts. Now watch this. We can drag it to the right, and it makes it a subset of it, just like that. Articles the same way. You know. Just click out here. That gets rid of that funny highlighting. Now I accidentally added an additional contact. So we can remove that one and remove the extra rates. Now it's in the order we want it to be in. And I'm just going to call this Menu Main. You could just leave the default if you want. Save our menu. Once the menu is saved, if we come back over to our website and we hit Reload, you'll see that these names have been added. Now stuff is all jacked up looking, but we can fix all that later. Notice in our URL it says index.php and then it has our page name or our slug name. We want to remove that. So let's go back to our dashboard, and then we're going to go down to a section called Settings, and inside of Settings there's an option called Permalinks. Inside of Permalinks we're just going to choose Post Name, and that gives us the format that we're going to want to use. Scroll down, Save Changes. Now if we come back over here and we click on Services again, now you notice that it just says the word Services instead of having index.php. So now let's go ahead and change this phone number out and put our quote button there. So we're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to go to Appearance, Customize, and from here we're going to go to Header, Primary Menu, and now where it says a phone number there, we're going to put Get Quote. And for the link, I'm going to put quote, and I always put a slash at beginning and end just for compatibility, make sure it works in all environments. Now I can hit publish, and notice it already shows it right here. When the publish is complete, we come over here, we hit reload, and we'll see that it's been updated on our page. So let's go back to our dashboard, and we'll close that. That gets us back to our dashboard. Now you notice in our website, all the default stuff is there for the original website. We're building the website for Jim Gray Designs, so what I want to do is download the content for the Jim Gray Designs website so we have access to that. So to do that, I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to webyoda.com/content, scroll down to the project we're working on, and choose content-jimgraydesigns.zip. Now that's been downloaded. If I click this up arrow in my case, I can show the folder. And I'm probably going to use this folder a lot, so I'm going to kind of keep that there. And this is the file that we just downloaded. If I right-click on that, I can choose Extract All, and it asks me, do I want to put it here? I'll go sure. And it opened it up automatically, but let me close that one. And you see that we've got a new folder here, and this folder contains the content for the website we're going to build. Basically, I've collected everything in advance, and this is a good way for you to get organized as well, to collect the content in advance for your website. Now, the last piece of information we're going to need is a script. Every time I build one of these videos, I build a script with it, and I refer to the script to get content I need for building the site. And a previous student of mine wondered why I didn't provide that script for everybody, because it might be helpful for you as well. I'd agreed, and so now for each of the courses we have a script. So if you go to webyoda.com/Jim Gray, it'll bring up the script for this course. And it basically shows all the stuff we're going to go through. Here's where we did our install. This is the information about the WordPress, the Astra theme, the plugins we needed. When you go to create a logo, that's all the information for that. When you go to do a video intro, if you want to do that, there's the information for that. Here's a bunch of free places to get video clips, free places for images, free places for Elementor templates. And then we get into the names of the pages and the colors, and after that, it's a whole bunch of content about what I did to make the site work. So this is super helpful for you, and you can copy and paste at any time. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because we're going to need these colors, because we want to change the color of this button to match what Jim Gray's button is. So that's where we're at. Now, just to review, this is going to be the tab that we use for our dashboard and building our page. This is the page that we're creating. This is the completed site, and this is our content. So this gives us quick access to all this information. Now I happen to know that the button we're going to do is going to be this red. So I want to copy that red. Then I'm going to come back over here, and then we're going to go to Appearance, Customize. And then from here we're going to go to Global, Buttons, Color. And for the background color, we're going to set it to the red, and watch it immediately changes over here. And right now, when you hover over it, it's blue. But we want it to be a yellow, so we're going to go back to our document, find the yellow. We'll copy that yellow. Come back over here, and we're going to choose Hover. And now we'll change that blue to the yellow. Now we move over it. We get the colors we want. I can say Publish, get back to our site, hit Reload, and now our button's red. A typical question that I get from students are, where do I get these color numbers from? And the answer to that is, you go to Google, you do a search for the words color picker. Here's the link to it as well. And when that comes up, you can choose any color you want all over the board. And when you find a color you're interested in, it shows you the color here. You copy that to the clipboard, and then you go paste it wherever you need it. So let's go back to our dashboard. We'll close that. And now if we look at our website and we do the pull down, notice it's white and you can't do anything with it. Turns out that the theme company, the Astra theme, requires you to buy a plugin if you want to have that level of control. Well, most of the sites that you build may have this feature, and so to make this change, we need to buy their plugin, but I don't want to do that. So we're going to do a piece of code to fix that, and you don't need to understand the code, you just need to know how to copy and paste. So just follow me on this. This is how we're going to set the color for the pull-down menus for a computer, a laptop, and your mobile devices. To do that, we're going to go to Appearance, Customize, and at the very bottom, there's a section called Additional CSS. We're going to choose that, and you can close this big box so it's not in the way. And we want to put the code in here that's going to fix this. Now that's the easy part. We're going to go back to our content. Just under what we were looking at is the additional CSS. Copy this to the clipboard. You don't worry about what any of this does, you just know it's going to work. I'll come back over here, and I'll paste it in. Now if we walk over, we'll see now this shows up as the red we want it to be. We can hit Publish, go back to our website, it's white, we hit Reload, and now that's been fixed. Now we're ready to put the real logo here. Since Jim Gray Designs already had a logo, we're not going to build his logo as part of this course. However, if you're in need of a logo, just click on the link at the top right. It'll take you to a video that I made on how to create your own professional logo free of charge online in about 5 minutes time. Now we're ready to put the real logo here and get rid of the text that's next to the logo. So we'll come back over here. We'll close this. So we're going to go to Appearance, Customize. Then from here we'll go to Header, Site Identity, and now we can add our logo. Now it's got one in there already, so we're going to choose Change Logo. Now at this point you can select files. From here you can go to where your files are at. For example, they're inside of this content folder. And you can choose wherever the file is. So what we're looking for is the logo. So there's our logo. We'll hit Open. Now it adds it to our media folder. I hit Select. It asks me, do I want to crop it? I'm going to skip the cropping. And now it's been added to the page. For the logo width, let's choose 175. And then we'll scroll down and we're going to turn off the title. It appears that we're going to see our logo here. So let's go ahead and hit Publish. Go back. Now let's hit Reload, and notice how the text went away but the logo's still there. Well, we didn't expect that. I did, because that's happened to me before. But the reason is because there's actually two different places you can change the logo. This is what's called a transparent menu, as opposed to where we changed it was not the transparent menu area. I wanted you to see how this could happen, so depending on which template you install to use, you might need to change this in a different spot. So to fix this, we're going to go back, scroll to the top, and we can hit the back arrow, and now we're going to choose Transparent Header, and here's a logo as well. So we can click Change Image, choose our logo again, choose Image, and now it shows here, and now we can do Publish, go here, hit Reload, and now the correct logo shows. So you want to do it in both places just in case. Now let's go ahead and clean things up a little bit. We can get rid of this bar to give us some extra space. Another thing I want to do, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice that there's a menu bar down here. This is called the footer bar, as opposed to this is called the footer area. I prefer to work on these two things in the same place, so on every page I can work on them together, but Astra likes to make this a separate item. So what we're going to do is if we go back to our dashboard, so let's close that, we can choose Appearance, Customize, Footer, Footer bar, and we can just turn that off. We'll hit Publish, come back here, hit Reload, and you'll see that this little bar will go away. And we're going to manually add that back later so we have more control over it. And the last thing I want to do before we actually start building our home page is to set the link colors for our website. So we're going to go back to our dashboard, Appearance, Customize, Global, Colors, Base Colors, and from here we can set our theme color, our link color, and our hover color for the link color. If you come over under News, you'll see this blue line. That's the theme color. It's in a lot of places in the website. That's just an example. We click on that, and let's say we decide to make that kind of gray. If you click on the little colored thing again, it closes it back down. We look under here, now that's gray, just like we want it. Now we're going to make this color the red. I chose the color swab. Come in here, change that to red. Close that down. Now we want to go to the hover color. We're going to make that the yellow. So come over here, yellow, close that down. And that's ready to go. So now we can publish that to make it official. At this point, we can close that down. And we've got all our preliminary settings ready to go, so we're ready to edit our home page. So to edit our home page, we're going to go to Pages. And at Home, we can click on Home, or we could click on Edit with Elementor. Elementor is the page builder software we're going to use to edit our pages. But let's see both ways. If I click on Home, now there's a choice to edit with Elementor, which is the way we're going to want to do it. So we can click this button here. And now we're in a position where we can start editing our page. But having a general understanding about how the Elementor environment works certainly improves how quickly you're able to make changes to your website. The first thing we want to look at is the difference between what's called a section, and this is a marker for a section. If you scroll down, you'll see here's another section, and basically sections are rows. Okay, we got it. So here's a row, and we scroll down, and here's a row. So basically the sections are rows. Now inside a row you can put different things. So for example, here's a row, and inside of there it has 3 columns. So that's the section tab, that's the column tab, that's the column tab, and that's the column tab. Now inside of each of these columns you have content, and that content is accessible through the little icon on the right hand side. So in some areas, for example, you have a section, which is this section, you have a column, and then inside of the column you have a piece of content, and then you have another piece of content. These little things are called widgets, and the widgets can do different things like add pictures, add text, all kind of various things. So when we scroll down, you notice that here we've got 2 columns. You got 1 piece of content in there and nothing in this one, so it's going to be empty on that side. Here we've got 3 columns, and each one of them just has a picture in it, but when you scroll down it has some other stuff. What turns out, if you choose that item, it tells you that it's an edit image box. So basically it's an image box that has text and a picture with it. Or if you click on something else, if you click on this one, it'll tell you that it's just a text editor. That's the type of a widget it is. And so what we want to do is change this website to be the Jim Gray Design website. And so the first thing we'll do is change out some of this text. Now this is completely fully at your ability to change it to be whatever you want. We're just going to make changes to make the Jim Gray website. To start, let's change out this text right here. So for example, where it says welcome to whitewash, I'm going to click on that. Now you can edit it here, but I found that you get better results if you do it over here. And now I want to change out this text. So I can click there, or I can click there, and I can edit it over here and paste in what I want to be there. Now, one of the things of interest is that it's not always going to have what you're expecting over on the left. And the reason is there's 3 different methods of editing. You can edit the content, you can edit the style, and then there's advanced settings. In the content one, it typically is where you're going to enter the information, enter links, and stuff like that. Whereas the style allows you to control specific things about it. So in this case, I want this text to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to click on the Style tab, and it has a word called typography. That's basically a fancy way of how you change the font sizes and things like that. So for this particular piece of information, the text color is white. We'll leave that the same. For typography, if we click on that, now we could change all the different aspects about that, and we'll be doing a lot of this, so you'll see how a lot of this works. Now in this particular situation, I just wanted to make it a little smaller, so I'm going to use 36, and that made that text just a little bit smaller like that. Now for our purposes, I'm not going to use these bottom 2, so I can choose the icon for that particular widget. I can right click on it, and I can choose delete. Same thing with this button. It's just a button widget. I can right click on it and hit delete. Now I want to change this background image to be the one that we want to use. Well, this background image is the background not for a particular widget, not for a column, but for the entire section. So I'm going to choose that section, and then under Style, I can choose the image that's going to be part of the background, and right now it's that car. So I can click on that, and I could come over here and do the same thing where we did it before, but I want to stay in the media library and show you a little bit quicker way to move pictures and stuff in. So in my case, I'm going to bring up my folder, that has my content in it that we already had. And what I'm looking for is the background image that we're going to use at the very top. And that one's going to be called background fallback. And I just drag it into the media window. Now notice it automatically added it to it, and it automatically had it selected, so all I got to do is insert media, and now it's in there. Now the problem is it has this blue hue to it. Well, I don't want that. In my case, I just want the picture itself. Well, if you scroll down, there's a thing called background overlay. We choose inside of that. It has the type of color that's associated with this. It's an overlay. It's sitting on top of our picture. If I click on that, I can basically tell it to clear it, and that goes away. But notice that this text is a little bit hard to read on top of this background. So right here particularly, it's a little tough to read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that widget. I'm going to go to Style, and where it says Text Shadow, we'll choose that icon, and I'll click on the color itself, and let's just move this over to about 80%. If you do it to 100%, I don't know if you can tell it. You can see on this letters right here, watch when you move it, how it adds a little bit of shadow. See the difference? So we're going to set it to about 80%. And I can click out of that. And then I want to do the same thing for this little widget up here. We're going to go to Style, Shadow, choose the color, and we're going to drag that up to around 80% like that. And that'll make it look a lot easier to read with that little bit of a shadow. In fact, you don't even know the shadow's there unless somebody points it out to you, but it certainly makes a difference. Now I can hit Update, go back to our site, scroll to the top, let's click the logo so we can see our home page. And look at that, we already have the Jim Gray Design website. Now one little attention to detail thing that I'd like to point out is that if you look at this line of text, I'd really like to have a break right here where those two words came over here. So let's go ahead and go back to Elementor. We'll choose that widget. And up here in between that, we're going to put I know I said no coding, but we're going to put a little bitty code. It's a less than, BR that stands for break, and a greater than. And notice that it makes it go to the next line. Well, that's just the smallest bit of code to learn how to work, and look how much difference it made. So now we can do Update, go back to our page, hit Reload, and that'll reorganize itself nicely. And now we're ready to add our video intro. You can either insert a YouTube link into the website, or you can upload a video and then make a direct link to that. So let's first see what the YouTube version would be like. So if we go to YouTube, and let's say we do a search for Bethany's Your Ultimate Vacation. This is the little background logo, the background video that runs in her website. So we click on that. If I copy that URL, and now I no longer need this, and we'll go back to Elementor. At this point, I'm going to choose the section. I'm already in it probably, but just in case. And now I'm going to go to Style. And then for the background type, I'm going to choose Video. And then right here, I can put a link. I'll paste that link in. And notice how it makes her video the background. So I hit Update, Reload. And so now the Jim Gray Designs website has her video in the background. Clearly it's a nice video, but it has nothing to do with audio video, so we've got to do something else. So let's go back to Elementor. And so we can take this out because we no longer need that. Now notice that when we got rid of the video, we no longer have the background there, and that was because the background was chosen here. And really what we want to do is we want to choose video, but we want to have a background fallback, and that's going to be the background for the website, so that when the video intro is complete, this is what we'll see. Or in the case of a mobile device where the videos don't run, it'll just automatically come to this. So now we can hit Update. And at this point, we're ready to build a video intro. Now the video intro for this website was already created. We're not going to create that as part of this video. However, if you use the link at the top right, it'll take you to a video on how to build your own video intro. No cost to you in about 5 minutes time. What you're looking at here is a bunch of sample intro videos that I made just to give you a general idea of what you're able to do. Each one of these took roughly 5 minutes to make, and all of them were free. Since everything is done online, there's no software to download, no system requirements. As long as you have a browser and access to the internet, you can make these all day long for free. All the intro videos have matching audio in the background, and the length of the intro videos is as little as 5 to 7 seconds, all the way up to 30 seconds, just depending on what your personal needs are. Since our video intro is already complete, let's go ahead and add it to our website. Now we need to exit out so that we can add the video. So we're going to click on this icon right here, and we're learning how to exit out of Elementor. We click that, and then at the bottom we exit to dashboard. Now from here, we're going to want to add our video to the media. So we're going to choose Media Library, and we want to add a new one. Now to do that, again, if we just bring up our folder, you can bring up your folder that has the content in it, and then scroll down to the item you want to use. In this case, we want to use the video intro. And I can just drag it over here and drop it in, and it'll automatically load it. Now the reason why we had to load it here is because we need to get the link that it points to so that we can make sure that we can enter that into our web page. So I'm going to choose that. I selected it, and now on the right hand side, the link is there. So I can copy that link to the clipboard. Now I can close that, and now we're ready to go back to our page. So we're going to go back to Pages. And instead of clicking on Home, I'm just going to click on Edit with Elementor over here on the right. That takes me in there quicker. So that's the other method. Now that our page is up, I'm ready to put the video intro on top of this. So I'm going to select that section, and then I'm going to go to Style, and then we're going to choose our video option, which it was already chosen possibly. And then we're going to put the link that we just copied the clipboard and paste it in there. Now for our case, I only want to run it one time, so I'm going to turn this on to run once. And it's already in there, it's ready to go. But notice how this text is still sitting here. It's already there, and that's just a little bit annoying. It's really not the way we want to do things. What we really want to do is to make that text show up like right now. See how now if it slid in there, that would be nice. So let's go ahead and make that change. And to do that, let's start with the first one, which is Welcome to Jim Gray Designs. And I'm going to choose the widget itself with the little blue box. I've selected it. And now we're going to go to Advanced. And now I want to look for Motion Effects. And what I want to do is I want this to be a motion effect of fade in from the right. Just like that. Now the problem is I want this to fade in from the right just as the video intro finishes. To do that, on the left-hand side, there's a thing called Animation Delay, MS. Well, MS stands for milliseconds. Well, the video intro is 15 seconds long. So if I've set a delay of 17,000, that's 17,000 milliseconds, which is the same as 17 seconds, that means 2 seconds after the video intro is complete, that text will slide in there. Now we're going to choose the other widget just below it. We're going to go to Advanced, Motion, and then we're going to fade this one in from the left. We're going to set it to 17,000. We'll do Update. Now we'll go back to our website, and when we hit Reload, you'll notice that the intro starts to play, but the text is no longer in the bottom corner over here like it was before. And at the end of the 15 seconds, after the intro is complete, then our text slides in from the left and the right. It's a nice touch, right? So when I got to this point, I was so excited about the way this looked. I said, "Hey, Bethany, give this a look. What do you think?" And she goes, "Oh, wow, it'd be really nice if you didn't have 2 get quotes at the top right." And I said, "Oh, okay." So what happened is we added a menu item for get quote, but the get quote button was also going to be there. So we need to go back and edit the menu, and so we'll do that now. We'll go back to Elementor, and then we'll exit out of Elementor. We're going to click on Appearance, Menus, and we'll scroll down, and this one we do not need. Remove that, save menu, and now when we go back and reload, now we only have 1 get quote. So now we can go back to our dashboard, and we want to continue editing our home page. So to do that, we're going to go to Pages, choose the home page, Edit with Elementor, and now we'll scroll down to the next section that we're going to work on. And then this is basically in a little About Us section. So now we want to change out all the information here. So let's go back to here and look at what we're going to be building. So let's go ahead and make this tan background and put the new image over here. So we'll come in here, and the first thing we'll do is we'll select this section, and now we'll go to Style. We'll choose the color option, and we'll paste in that tan color. We can click that to close it back down. And now we want to change this image, so we'll click on that. And we need to upload the image we're going to use. So we bring up our list. We'll look for that background. And it's background right. We'll drag it over. Click Insert. And now it has that new image, and when you scroll up and down, you'll see that that one sits in there and does that really nice effect. So now let's change this text right here to look like it does over here. So we're going to select that widget. We'll change out the text. And then we'll go to Style. We're going to change the color. And we're going to use that color of brown. So we'll come down here and put it in there. And close that out. And then we're also going to change the height of that. So we'll go into Typography. And right where it says Size, we'll put 16. And now we want to change this text. So we're going to choose that widget. Come over here. Put in the right text on that. And then I want this to be on one line. So if I click this column, I can actually put a value in here. Let's say we put 35 in here. And that makes it wide enough so that can fit. And notice this is a column that is empty. And then this is a third column right here. Now at this point, I don't want this text all the way up to the edge. I actually want it to be centered in this entire box. And so I'm going to choose the column. And I'm going to go to Advanced. And the white area around the outside of this is called padding, whereas the outside of the area is called margin. And that'll become more obvious as we do more of this. So in this case, we want the padding to be the same all the way around. So we'll come over here. And also, notice how these have different values? If I choose this, it connects them all together. So if I change one, they all change. And let's put a value of 40, and that makes all of them 40 all the way around. And I really kind of want this over a little bit, so instead, if I click on this column, instead of 15, let's try 9. See how that made it a little bit bigger? That allows us a little bit more space, so I like that better. So let's go back and look and see how much progress we made. Okay, so now we need to change the text to this, so let's go ahead and make that change, and change the text to this. So we'll choose that widget, put the text in there, and then we'll choose this widget, and put the text in there. And now there's a little extra space here, so I can just get rid of that to make it look more like it. Now over here, we don't need this one. Let's right click on that widget and say delete. But we do need a button here. So what we can do, up here, this icon here reveals our widgets. It's our widget button. And inside of there is a list of all the different ones we have. Here's our button. We're just going to drag it over here. Sometimes it's hard to get that little blue line to show up where you want, but that's where it's going to drag to. We're going to drag it right there and let it go. Our button is the default colors that we had, but in our case, I want this to be brown. So we're going to select that button. We'll go to the style for that button. And then for the color of the button, which will be the background color, we're going to set this to be the brown. I can click that to close it out. And now we can go back to the content. I want this button to say, Learn More. And then we want to set the link to About. Now we can hit Update. Go back over here. Let's hit Reload. And one of the neat things is you don't have to wait for this animation to finish. You can scroll down and go ahead and start using it. So now we can see that's what it looks like on our version. And that's what it looks like on the other. So we did a good job. Now we're ready to go to the next section, the Services section. So let's go back to our version. And there is a Services section. Now notice over here, this is basically the same setup we had before. So if we come up here, I'll show you a neat trick. I can go to this widget, and if I right click on that widget icon, I can choose Copy. Now I'll come down here and I can choose, actually just do it on the text. I can right click on that and I can just choose Paste Style. And it doesn't change the text that's there, but it changes the style to match. And that saves us the trouble. It already says Services. We'll check back over here. And this is the text it needs to say, so we're going to make that change as well. So we'll come into the box for that one. So we choose that, paste that in. And now notice there's not a lot of space up here. This is really tucked right up next to it. So let's choose that entire section. I'll go to Advanced. And now, right now there's padding at the bottom, right here, that's 120. Let's add some padding to the top. Let's say we put in, I don't know, say 30. Looks pretty good. And now we're ready to change out these three pictures. So we want to have our services in there. So let's pick the first one here. I selected it. I can go change this picture. Now I've got to upload the services picture. So I'll come over to our folder. We're looking for services. And here's the first three. And since we know we're going to need these later, let's just get all 10 of the services and we'll drag them over. This will save us a step later, so they won't be separated from each other in the media library. So now we want to pick the first of those, which is this one right here. Insert media. We'll choose the second one. Click on that. We'll choose the second one. Insert media. We'll go to the third one. Click on the image. Choose the third one. Insert media. So you see it makes a big difference if you already have your own images ready to go, just like I did for this one. So preparing and having everything ready will definitely save you a lot of time. So now when we scroll down, turns out that we're not going to need the little extra text that's under each one of these. So we can remove that text. Turns out this is not a separate widget, so it's actually built into the same one. So when we come over here, if we just delete that text, it goes away. And we can go do that for each one of them. And now we only have the text itself. So now in this situation, we want to make these the brown, but it's going to be a little bit bigger text. So notice we want it to look just like that. And we want this text on each one of them. Let's go ahead and set the formatting to the brown first. And to do that, I'm going to come up here and copy that format. I'm going to paste a format here, paste style, and I can right-click on each one of these and paste style and do those quickly. Now all I need to do is change the text on each one of these. So the first one, notice it's under title and description. This is the title. Change that. Now we want to change the second one, so we'll choose that. Come over here and change it here. So we'll paste that in. And pick the final one, come over here and paste it here. And hit update. Now look, they're wrapping a little bit right now. Let's go ahead and look at what our result looks like. That's what it did look like. We'll reload. And that's what it looks like now. So what we can do is make this a little bit smaller. So we'll come back in here, and for the style for this one, we're going to go into style, and that's the title. So when we go down, here's content, and then under title, we want to change the typography. And let's try a size here of, say, 19. And so that wasn't small enough, but here's this little arrow here. Let's do a down arrow, and then that fits, and we'll just make it one more smaller so there's some extra room there. So that seems to work. So over here, I can right-click, copy, right-click, paste style, right-click, paste style. And now all of them fit and they're under there nicely. So we can hit update, go back to our version, hit reload, and we've got that done. Now for the next section, it's the testimonials. If we come back and look at our testimonials, this is just not what we want to do. I want to do something different. We want to do the one that's here. And what I have is a template that we're going to be able to install that's going to give us a head start on this. So let's come back over here. And the first thing we'll do is we'll delete this testimonial section altogether. So I click that X, and now it's gone. And now I'm going to hit this plus sign. It's at the top of this section here. And that's going to insert a section. And then I'm going to use this folder, and it gives me access to three things: blocks, pages, and templates. What are blocks, pages, and templates? Well, blocks are individual pieces of code. They are sections or rows that go in your website, and you can basically choose any of these and add them into your website. These are all Elementor blocks, and some of them have the word Pro next to them. It means that if you have Elementor Pro, you have access to the fancier versions. So as you scroll down, you'll see that more and more of them are Pro versions, but there's a lot of the free versions as well. So if you end up with Elementor Pro, all of a sudden you have access to all these extra fun tools. Now pages, these are entire pages, like a home page or an About Us page, or here's a Contact Us page. And a bunch of these are free, and there's also ones that are Pro. So if you're trying to use something that's free, you find the ones that don't say Pro, and if you have Pro, you can have access to all these. Now in our case, we're going to use one of my templates, and it literally is my template because I'm giving it to you. Now there's none in our collection yet. So what we want to do is we're going to click this little up arrow, and that says Import Template. From here, we can go back to our folder, and we'll scroll until we find our templates. And there's our templates. And the one we're looking for is Testimonials. Right there. We'll drag it over. And there it is. Now we'll choose Insert. And I'll choose No on this. Just choose No every time. And now we have this new section that's been added. And it basically has 3 John Does. And all we need to do is change the background, change the images, and change the content of all 3 of these. Let's start with the background. We'll choose that tab. We'll come over to Style. And then we're going to click on the image. Now we need to upload an image. This will be the background for Testimonials. There's Background Testimonials. Drag it over. Insert. Now we have the background we want, but it doesn't fill the whole thing. Over here where it says Size, choose Cover. Now it covers the whole thing. Now we need to change the picture for each one of these, so we need our profile pictures. This is actually a background for this column, so we're going to choose the column style, and then we'll choose the image. And now we need to get our profile picture, so we'll scroll down and choose our profile pictures. And we'll go ahead and load all 3 of these at once. And we'll pick Bethany as the first one because who wouldn't? Wouldn't pick me or Joel first. We'll go to the next one, Style, and we'll pick me. And Joel, I'm sorry, you get to be last. So we go there, Style, Image, there he is, Insert. Now we need to change the names for each one of these and the subjects and the comments. So let's do a little magic right here. And the contents change just like that. Now we can click on Update. We can go back. This is what it used to look like. We'll hit Reload. And this is what it looks like now. Notice it already has some of that animated stuff built into it for us. Now what's interesting about this is an example of where we inserted one of those blocks, just happened to be a block I provided, but any of the blocks you can find through Elementor or through Astra, the theme company, they have a lot of those, or any place else. If you can find an Elementor compatible block, you can insert that into your page using the same method. Now we're ready to go to the next section. So let's scroll down and let's look at the Jim Gray version. And let's scroll down. And the next section we're going to do is going to build this nice gallery. So look, it has a header right here. It has a gallery right here. It has these little brush looking waves right here. So let's go ahead and go back to Elementor. And we don't have anything that looks like that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert and make a place from scratch. Now the first part of that is this section right here. And it looks like there's an empty cell, and then one in the middle. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to add a section. We have 3 blocks. It looks like the middle one's wider. Again, we can change the width of these, but let's choose that as a default. Now in this middle block, it has the little header and the big header. So let's come back over here. Let's scroll up and find one of those. Here's a little header. We right click, we can copy it. We come back down here. We can right click in that area and we can paste it. Come back up here. We can right click on services. We can copy it. Come back down here. We can right click and paste it. And now we have those. And all we have to do is change the content to match. So right here, we'll choose that. Change it to Making Your Dreams a Reality. And then over where it says Services, we'll choose that and change it to Dream Maker Gallery. And everything seems to be fitting in there just fine. And now we need to be able to put our actual carousel. So we're going to need another row. So I'm going to click right here to make another section. And it's going to be a row that's all the way across. So we'll click the plus circle. And we'll choose this one to make it all the way across. If we have that section selected, over to Layout, which is the first section, we can choose Stretch the Section, Content Width. We're going to say full width. We want it to be the entire width of that. Now we can use our widget button. And we want to find carousel. We could scroll and look for it, but you can also start typing a word, and anything that matches that will show up in the box. So here it is. I can add that like that. Now we have our carousel. Now we're ready to put our images into it. So we'll click over here. And now we need to insert our carousel images. So we're going to go to our content and look for our carousel pictures. There's the first one. And we have 11 of them. I selected them, drag them over, load all those at the exact same time. Now we click on Create a New Gallery. At this point, you can change the order of these if you want. Let's say you wanted this one first. You just drag it over there. Insert Gallery. And there's our gallery. Currently it has 3 pictures. We want to change this to be medium large. And then we're going to make it 2 pictures. Again, these are just choices. And we're also going to scroll 2 pictures. Now at this point, I'm going to choose under navigation. I can either have these arrows and these dots, or I can just have the arrows or the dots or none at all. We're going to choose just to have the arrows. And now we need to have the little dividers at the top and the bottom. Over here it has a white one, over here it has a tan one, and it's tan because the next section is going to be tan. So we'll come back over here. I still have this selection, but I want to choose the section itself. And under Style for the section, there's a thing called Shape Divider. And the top one is the one up here. We're going to choose a shape of Waves Brush. And let's set the height to say 60. And let's set the color to say white. And then you're like, well, I don't see it. Well, if we walk down a little bit, let's close the color. You'll see there's a thing called Bring to the Front. We'll click on that, and now it shows up. And now we need to do the one at the bottom. We'll choose here. We'll choose Waves. Color. We'll pick the tan that we used before. We'll close the color. And then we'll change the height to 60. And then we'll scroll down. Bring to front. And it was the wrong one. We need the Waves brush. And notice that there's a little bit of white showing right here. So if we go in at the very top of that to Advanced, where the margin is, let's disconnect those, and at the bottom, let's give it a negative number. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should have made a difference, but it wasn't where we wanted to make the change. So we'll get rid of that. What we're going to do is choose the carousel itself. And now we'll go to Advanced, and we'll disconnect these, and we'll do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see how if you have the section, sometimes it's what you want to adjust. If you have the item, it's what you want to adjust. Or if you have the column. It just depends on what you're trying to do. So that last comment couldn't have been more on target. It turns out that there's actually another thing that we really wanted to do. If you notice this edge right here, there's some padding right here all the way around. You can't see it because it's hidden there, and it comes around here. So really the change that we wanted to do here is we could take this and go back to 0, because I couldn't figure out, well, why was that showing up anyway? And now let's pick the section. We'll go over to Layout, and here where it says Column Gap Default, let's set that to No Gap. That fixed everything about it and brought that to the edge. But unfortunately, this late in the game, you're only going to see the change here, but through the rest of the video, you'll see that hadn't been fixed. However, you now know how to fix it. We can hit Update. We come back over here, we scroll down, we don't have a carousel, we hit Reload, and there's our carousel, just like that. We look back over, and looks the same. Good job. So now we're ready for the next section, which is going to be this Join Email and Wirenuts. And it's very similar to what we did up here. It just has the stuff switched around a little bit, so we'll be able to recycle some of that possibly. Oh, and also, when we made the services thing, we didn't put a button over here. So let's go ahead and add our services button first. So go up over here. We'll come up here. No services button there. But let's go ahead and right-click on this and copy and right-click on this and paste. And now, inside of this button, we want it to say Content, View All Services. And then we want it to point to Services. Now also notice when you put the mouse over it, the text turns black. So for some reason our formatting of that is not exactly what we want it to be necessarily. So if we have this button selected, we can go into Style for the button, go to Hover, And let's change this to the yellow. So we'll put that number in there like that. We'll click that to close that out. And let's change the color to white. Close that out. Now it does what we want it to do. Now we can do copy. Then we come over here and we can paste style. And now that one's fixed. But there was also one other detail. If you look over here and we look at the button, you'll see that it's just a tiny bit round on the edges. So we'll go back over here. We'll choose our button. And under the button choices, under style, there's a thing called border radius. And if we increase that, it'll make the edges really, really round. Or we could just give it a small value like 3, and it just makes a tiny bit of roundness. Now we can right-click that button, copy, right-click this button, paste style, and now they both have that little bitty round edge on them. So it's just that easy. So now we have the button for services, and now we're ready to start our next section. So we'll come down here, and the first thing we'll do is we'll set this tan background like we did before. So to do that, we're going to click on the section, go to Style, Color, and we'll put in our tan color and choose tan and close that out. Now we want to change this background image. So we click on the image, and now we need to add the image. So we go to our content folder. We'll find the background for Wirenuts, drag it over, insert media, and now that image is there, and we're ready to change this. Now notice that this again doesn't have that same border all the way around it. We're going to choose that column, go to Advanced, and this is where it gets these numbers from. It's 100 on the left, it's 0 on the right, it's 60 at the top, and it's 60 at the bottom. If I connect those, it makes them all the way around 60. I can change it to 40. Also notice here's where the column ends, but it sticks up 50. Well, they put a negative 50 here, and that allowed us to shift that up. Gives you a general idea how margin could be used to your advantage. So now this piece at the top, it needs to be brown. So we'll choose that text, go to Style, change the color to brown. And now we'll go over to Content to change the content. So we'll highlight that and paste in the right, join our email. And now I want this column to be a little bit wider. So I'm going to choose the column, and on the layout page, let's choose 55 instead. And notice how it makes it overlay over here. It gives that nice neat effect. So this column here now is too wide because this is all scrunched up. So let's change this to 15. And the last one ought to be 30, but when you click on it, it'll be 29.999, almost 30. This particular piece here needs to be the same as the way we've done other ones. So we can come up, I can right click on that, copy, and come back down, and we can right click on that, paste style. Now we just need to change the text for both of these. So we can select that widget, come over here, our exclusive newsletter. Now we want to change this one, so we click on that widget, come over here, put in Wirenuts. And now we want a button below that. So we're going to scroll up, find a Learn More button, right click on it, copy. Come down here, right click, paste. If for some reason things aren't in the order you want, you can take the item and let's say drag it up like that. You can drag that down like that. So you see you can have complete control over how these are after the fact. Now this particular one, I want it to be a little bit lower. So we'll select that widget. We'll go to Advanced, and under Padding, let's disconnect the padding. And then we can make some padding at the top. And let's move that down, let's say 20. Now on this side, we need the text for here, so let's change that out. So we'll come over and paste in the right text there. And then these need to be changed. So the first thing I'm going to do is make these red. So to do that, under Style, for text, we'll go ahead and change the color to our red. And then we'll go into the icon and change the color again to our red. And then I also want this text to be capitalized. So if I close that color out, inside of the text, inside of typography, there's a thing called Transform. And Transform allows me to make different changes like that. In this case, I want it capitalized. Capitalize only the first letter. I really want uppercase. So now I just need to change out the text for each one of these. And so if I scroll to the top of this box and go to Content, here's each one. And basically you click on one of them, you change the text. So we'll change that one to say that and click on it again to close it. Click on the second one to open it. Change that, close it, open the next one, put the right text, close that one, open the last one, put in the right text, close that one. Now if you needed extra ones, you can just click this little button here and it'll make a duplicate. So now there'll be 5 of them, like that. Or you can just get rid of it because we didn't need one. We can hit update. At some point that'll update itself. We come over here, we hit reload, and looks like we're complete. Hover over a button that's pointing to about, and it's supposed to be pointing to Wirenuts. So we'll come back over here, we'll choose our button, and then under content, we can change this to Wirenuts. Just like that. And now that button will point to Wirenuts. Hit update, we'll come back over, we'll hit reload, and now this points to the right place. Now we're ready to do the next section. And on this site, it looks like this. And on this site, it looks like this. And this kind of has the feel of what this does. But if we scroll up, this is really the same. So let's take this one and make a copy of it instead of trying to use the one that's, instead of trying to use this one. So we're going to delete that section altogether. So we'll come back over here. We'll scroll down. And inside of this tab here, we can hit the X and we'll delete that altogether. Now let's scroll up and find the one that we did like, and that's this one. And for the whole section, if we right click on the tab, we can do copy. And we can come down here and we can right click inside of here and we can do paste. And now we've made one of those. And now all we have to do is change the text out to match this one. We'll come back over here, we'll choose the first line of text, come over here, put in the correct text, and then we'll check over here, and now we can change out this text. And notice that this wraps, but over here it doesn't wrap, so we need to change our column size. So let's go back into here, and let's check the middle one here and see what size it is. It doesn't say one, so let's try 50. That's not enough. Let's try 60. That's enough. And then for either side, we want the difference on that. So that means we need to put 20 over here. We need to put 20 over here. So now it looks basically like this one does. And now we need to add our logos for our brands down here. And to do that, we need a new section. And that section's going to be 4 columns across. We'll click the circle plus. And we need 4 equal columns. So we'll choose that one. And now inside of each one of these, we're going to insert an image. So we'll come here, choose this image, and put it in there. Go back to our widgets, image, put it there, and do the same for all of those. Now at this point, we know we're going to need 2 sets of these. So I can right click on that section, and I can choose duplicate. Now I've got all of them. Now we just need to go put our brand logos in there. So we'll choose the first one. Click on the image, and now we need to load our brands, and here our brands are. There's 8 of them. Drag these over. So we'll select the first one that we want to use, hit insert, and then we'll go to the next one, choose the image, insert the next one. We'll do that for all 8 of them. Now that we have all 8 of them inserted, if we notice in our original, they're kind of grayed out. If we change the opacity of these, it'll make them lighter. So we'll choose the first one, then go to Style. In this opacity, if we change it, see how it makes a difference in how bright it is? We're going to set that to 0.25. And now we can right click on that, copy, and we should be able to paste the style to each one of these. And now they all look correct. We can hit update. We can go back over. This is what it looked like before. Hit reload. There's our new section. And if we compare it, we'll see that we have a little bit of extra space up here. Easy enough to fix. We go back to the section itself. Advanced. We'll put a little padding at the top. So let's disconnect them just so we can do just the top. Well, let's try 20. Update. Go back. reload, and that's complete. So the last section is this footer, and I'm going to tell you a couple things about this. First of all, when we look at the footer down here, you can tell it's basically identical. The only difference is that these were spread out a little bit, which meant that these 3 columns were a little wider. I added a link down here, and I changed out the content for each one of these buttons. And so we'll look at that. But instead of having to build this from scratch, I'm just going to have you import it so you don't have to do all that extra work. In your case, whatever your website is, it'll have your information anyway. Also at the bottom, notice that there is the footer bar. This footer bar is the one that we're going to be adding individually for each of our pages as well. And since I like these two to be together, I would like to be able to change and edit these in the same spot. But here's the problem. 2 things. First of all, we go back to our site. Here's a footer, and here's this bar that we had turned off. But if we go to our services page, and you scroll to the bottom, not only is that footer not there, but the menu bar at the bottom's not there. However, on our home page, both of them are there. And this is just a tiny incompatibility with trying to do the Astra theme with an Elementor inserted site. And since I don't know if you're going to be using this car wash site or any other one, whether it's going to be the pro version of an Elementor or the pro version of Astra, I want to make sure that this works for every site you're going to want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this section completely from our home page. And when you scroll down, you'll see that it's actually inaccessible. I can't even make changes to it. So to fix this, we're going to go out of Elementor. So we'll exit to our dashboard. And then under Appearance, we can go to Header Footer Builder. And where this template is, we're just going to trash it. We're done with it. We don't need it. Now we can go back to our pages. Go back to our home page. Now when we scroll to the bottom, you'll see it's no longer there. And when we come over here and we reload, it's also no longer there. So that matches what we have on the different pages. Now we want to put a footer at the bottom. In our case, we're going to insert the footer. So we're going to choose our folder. And now we need to upload it. So we're going to import template. And we'll go to our templates. And the one that we want is our footer template. And so that's this one right here. And so now we can insert our footer. And there it is, just like that. And now below it, let's hit the folder again. And we're going to import again. And we're going to select a file by going to Content, dragging over the footer bar. And we'll insert the footer bar. And now you have the footer on this page. And we can hit Update. And you can come back over here. You can hit Reload. And when you scroll down, now we have this nice footer at the bottom. Now creating the footer and the footer bar this way is the free method of doing it. And you certainly can settle for that. The only limitations are that when you go to additional pages, for example, if I go up here and I click on Services, I scroll down, there's no footer. Just means when I build that page, I need to insert the footer and the footer bar on every single page. That's really not a problem. We can do that. The other thing that's missing is that this little widget down here that shows this menu at the bottom is an Elementor Pro feature. It's a widget from their Pro set. So if you had Elementor Pro, that would show up. The other advantage of Elementor Pro is that it'll allow you to make a change to the footer in one place, and all the pages have the same footer at the bottom, so you're making that change across all the pages. In my case, I'm going to choose the Elementor Pro, and if for some reason you wanted to do Elementor Pro as well, just go to webyoda.com/Elementor, and it gives you a brief information about this. The Elementor Pro button is there. You can click through there and get partnership pricing through that link. Also, they give a piece to the WebYoda Foundation that helps make more of these free classes. So in my case, I did purchase the Pro, and then once I purchased the Pro, I went through the install process, which is really quick and easy. It's just you import the plugin and you enter your license and you're ready to go. For those interested in the Elementor Pro footer, here's a quick walkthrough of what you're going to need to do. First, let's close that tab. Now we'll go back to Elementor. We'll hit Update. And now we'll exit Elementor. At this point, you would install and activate your Elementor Pro plugin. Once your plugin is activated, scroll down your plugins and make sure Elementor Pro is up to date. Now to do our new version of our footer, now we're just going to Templates and Theme Builder. You'll choose the Footer tab. We're going to add a new footer, and we'll just call this one New Footer. Create Template, and that takes us directly into our location for our templates. We'll go under My Template. We'll pick the footer and insert that. Scroll down. We'll choose the folder again. We'll choose the footer bar. We'll insert that. And now, if we come over to the Widgets icon, you'll see the new nav menu there. And drag that over. And now we have the same navigation. We just need to change the font text to be this same color. So let's figure out what that color is. We're going to select that. We'll go into Style. We can click on it. We can copy that to the clipboard. And now we can go over to this one. We go into Style, set the text color, put that number in there, and now they match. We can hit Publish. And now it's going to ask us for a condition. Let's add a condition, include the entire site, save and close. That's the default. Now, when we come back over here, two things have happened. One, when we reload, now there'll be a footer and a footer bar on every single page of our site. And anytime we make a change to that footer in the theme builder or the footer bar, it automatically changes on every single page at once. That's really nice. We also got this little menu option down here that was really nice. And the only other drawback is there's a little quick change on our part. If we go back to our home page, because we originally added a footer there, when we scroll to the bottom, we're going to have two footers. So we're going to come back over. We need to exit back to our dashboard, and we're going to edit our home page. Edit with Elementor. Scroll down. And we'll just get rid of this footer and this footer bar. And we'll hit Update. And now when we come back over here and hit Reload, we'll just have one of them. So again, you don't have to use Elementor Pro, but for this particular thing, I like being able to make one change at one place for my footer, and it changes on all pages, and I like having this little menu at the bottom. It's your choice. There is a free way of doing it. We showed you that as well. So kind of a side note, once you have the footer thing in place using Elementor Pro, let's say you wanted this moved to the right a little bit, because I really didn't want it that close up. I can come here, and I can right-click on that and open a new tab. Now I'm editing that footer. I can scroll down, choose that widget. I can tell it to be to the right. I can tell it to update. I can close that tab, come back and reload what we had. It shifted that over. Not only did it shift it over on that page, but it shifted over on all the other pages. So that's really another indicator of why I like doing it that way so much. The good news is now we've finished with our home page. So we can go to our top. We can click on About. Now we're going to build this page, but basically what we're going to do is we want to be able to build the entire site quicker. And so all I want to do is let you import the pages and just show you some of the changes, things that we may not have covered yet. That way we can get the rest of the site done fairly quickly for you. So let's go ahead and go back to our Elementor. We're going to exit to the dashboard. We're going to go back to Pages. And now we're going to choose the About page and edit that with Elementor. And we're going to be importing a page that has just about everything we need in it. So we can just start clicking on and removing all of the different sections that are in there. And now we're going to choose on the folder. And we're going to import our About section. So let's go back to our content. And from here, we're going to drag over our template for the About. And there's the About. And we'll insert it. We always choose No on that. And now we have an About page. All we did was put the extra picture in there and we changed the text. We've done a lot of things that are very similar to what we had done before. One of the things that's a little bit different is that at this bottom section, we have this little bitty graphic. And what we want to do is we want to recreate that section quickly just so you can see how that would work. Now this is what's called an intersection. It's a section inside of a section. So if we go back to our widgets, we see a thing called intersection. And we can drag that in. And it basically is a section inside of a section. It's nested. And what we want to do is we want to put the Jim Gray signature right here. So we need a widget, and then we're going to drag an image inside of that. And then we'll click on that, and his signature should be already in here because it was loaded when this page was loaded. And we can say Insert. And now notice how much bigger it is than we really need. So if I come to this edge right here, I can drag between it till I get it the size that I want. Let's say something that's like that. And now we've reproduced the same effect. We don't need both of those, so I'll just delete the one that I have. And this here, for example, is just like our brands. It just has a bunch of columns and it has pictures inside of each of the columns, so that's really not any different. And the rest of this is just text and pictures. This here is a little bit unique. If I click on that, we'll see this is an image carousel. The difference in this image carousel than the one we did before is if we go to the added options, inside of here, instead of being effect where it was sliding, if you look at that, it'll slide the pictures. It does an effect that fades each of the pictures in and out. Well, the slide here is the animation in. But as you watch it change from picture to picture, instead of the pictures sliding, they fade in and out. The other thing that I like to do is this over here. It says pause on hover. I usually turn that off. That way when you put your mouse over it, it'll keep rotating so I can continue to have extra pictures just in case my mouse is sitting there. It won't interfere with that. So we can hit update. Come over here and we will reload. And now we have our fully functional about page. We automatically have the footer on there. Remember that if it didn't, we would have to actually insert the footer at the bottom of this. Not a big deal. So now we're ready to go to the next page. So let's go over here. We'll click on Services. And in Services, again, a lot of this stuff is the same. We're going to reproduce something just to get a feel for it. Now this particular stuff obviously is the default stuff. Let's look at the one that's on the Jim Gray side. And we'll click on Services. So this is Jim Gray's Services page. If we scroll down, here's some regular text, the same time as we did. Here's something similar to what we did on the main page. Instead of having 3 services across, it's 5 across. We could reproduce that. Now one of the things we haven't done before is making something that looks different when it's on a mobile device. So we're going to make a change to this satisfaction guarantee section. I'll show you what we're going to do when we get to that. So let's go ahead and go back to Elementor. We're going to exit to our dashboard. We're going to go to Pages. We're going to edit services with Elementor. Now we're going to delete all the default stuff because we're going to add our own page in. And now we're going to choose on the folder, My Templates. We're going to import. And we'll choose our content. This time it's going to be services. Drag that over. Now we'll insert it. Always click No. Now our services page is loaded. Now you'll notice here we have a link. What I want to do is show you how to make a link and then also how to remove a link. But since we already have one here, we're going to learn how to remove it first and then we'll add it back. So if we click on the widget, to the left we have the text. When you find the link in the text, if you highlight that, you can click right here to remove the link. Now to add a link, you just highlight whatever text you want to have a link to. You choose this button, type in what the link will be, in our case contact, hit enter, and now we have a link. Now we're ready to look at our new responsive code we're going to add. And what we're going to do is come down here, and I want you to see the difference on this. This is kind of what it looks like on the computer version. Notice this is to the right, like we might want it. Now if you come down here, you can choose what it'll look like on different devices. So for example, I can look at what it's going to look like on a desktop, that's there. On a tablet, that's there. If we scroll down, see how it sits to the right over there. That's not too bad. And we look at it on a mobile, and we're like, oh, wow, that's really not going to work. So what we really need is we need this to be smaller in the mobile version. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on this, and we're going to duplicate it. So now we have 2 of these. Now the first one of these, I have it selected. I'm going to go to Advanced. And what I want to do is I want to set this to only display the original one on desktops and on tablets. So I'm going to go down to Responsive under Advanced, and I'm going to tell it it's showing on desktop, it's showing on tablet, but I do not want it to show on a mobile. And notice how it gets these little slashy lines in it. That means that one's not going to show in mobile mode. Now when I scroll down, here's our other one we just duplicated. I'm going to choose that one. And then I'm going to come over here to Advanced. scroll down again, go to responsive, and this time I want to hide it on tablet and on desktop. So now this one will show up in the mobile version only. Now I have this particular widget selected. If I click on content, I can come over here and click this image, and at this point I can drag it up to the size I want it. So let's say we'll make it, let's say, somewhere around 120 by 120. Well, now on the mobile device, that's what it's going to look like. So that makes a lot of sense. So on the mobile device, it'll look like that. And on the desktop version, it'll look like this, and that one will be ignored. That makes sense? So we'll click on Update. We'll click on Refresh. This is our services page. We scroll to the bottom, and it pretty much looks the same. However, if I hit F12, it puts me in a special edit mode. I'm only doing that so that I can bring this across and see how I can make it show that particular version. And when we go down, you can see how it looks different. So both of those are working just fine. We are done with the services page. So we'll go to the bottom. We can click on Rates. That'll show us the version that's there now. And we'll come over to the Jim Gray page. We'll click on Rates. And this is what we're wanting to create. Again, we're going to import everything that's stuff that we already know how to do. We'll scroll down. Well, we want to learn how this stuff works. How do we get this stuff to look so fancy? So let's go ahead and head back to Elementor. And now we need to exit to the dashboard. We need to go to Pages, Rates, Edit with Elementor. And now we'll delete all the ones we don't need. Now notice, see, they had something very similar because that's where I got the idea from. We were just making changes to theirs. So we'll delete all of this. And now we're going to choose on the folder. So we'll hit Import. We'll go to our content. We'll find the rates page. There's the template for rates. We'll drag it over. Now we can insert the rates. Always hit no. Did I say always hit no? Pretty sure you knew that. And now we have a rates page. Now obviously this is already done, but I want to give you an idea how this works. First of all, these are just, if you look over here, this is a heading. This is a heading. This is a button, but it's not clickable. We just made it a button. We didn't put a link, so it gives it the look we want without having to be a real button. This is a heading, and then this is one of the icon lists that we've used before. So all these pieces are kind of the same, but how do we get this one middle box to be fancy and tall like that? That's what we're going to work on now. Well, one way to learn this is to make this column look the same as the others and then make the changes so you can see how that happened. So we're going to come over here, we're going to right click on this column, we're going to copy, and then we're going to right click on this column and we're going to paste style. Now they kind of look the same except this has different extra content in it, but we learned how to add ones over here with this little button there. Outside of that, they look identical. So what do we need to do to make this one look fancy? So we've chose the column. Now we're going to go to Advanced. So from here, let's set this to -60. So put your cursor to the left of that 0. It makes it easier to enter the negative. And what that did is it moved this up. And now we're going to change this. See this extra space here? We're going to change this to 0. That got rid of the extra space. And now down here, we're going to put the 60 there. And that extends the space down here, which just adds it to there, and then these get extended as well. And that's basically how you got that effect. To make it taller at the top, we just did a negative number to shift it up there. And to make it taller at the bottom, we just added the space to the bottom of this one. Now we can hit Update. Go to our page. Let's update on our rates page. And now we scroll down. That's what we did right there. We made that change because we made it back to what it was, and then we added that effect. Now we've completed that page. And let's go to the showroom page. And we'll go to the showroom page on Jim Gray's site. Now the showroom page has this really cool gallery. Watch how it fills in. See how neat that is? Well, that actually is an Elementor Pro gallery. And if you decided to purchase Elementor Pro, you'll be able to do that gallery. But we're also going to first create a gallery that doesn't have that fanciness to it. Either one of them can work fine, but I particularly enjoyed the fact that I already had Elementor Pro, so I was able to use this particular gallery. So let's go ahead and go back to Elementor, and we're going to exit back to our dashboard so we can choose our next page. We'll go to Pages. We're going to go to Showroom, Edit with Elementor, and we don't want any of these sections, so we're going to delete all the sections. And now we're going to choose on the folder, and we're going to import a page, and we're going to choose the page for the showroom. So there's the template for the showroom. Drag that in, and insert. No. And now, here is the completed page, except it doesn't have a gallery in there. So let's add a gallery to this, and we can add it inside of here. So I'm going to go to my widgets, and I'll type in gallery. And here's the different types of galleries. We're going to do the basic gallery because that's the one you have access to for free. It actually works fine. There's really no reason to complain about this. I just like having access to the other one if I'm going to get it anyway. And so now I can enter my gallery pictures. So I'm going to click here. I need to import my gallery. So we're going to go find our showroom pictures for this gallery. Right there. I'm going to slide that over, and we're going to insert all 28 of those at once. Obviously, how long this takes is dependent on your connection to the internet, so yours may be faster than mine, and this would work faster for you. Now, if for some reason you had trouble getting these to upload, you may try to do a few of them at a time. I've never really had a problem, but some people have mentioned, depending on who their hosting company is, that they needed to upload, let's say, 3 or 4 of them at a time instead of all of them. Now they're all loaded. I can click on Create New Gallery. And then at this point, if you wanted to change these around, let's say you wanted to have this picture at the top, you can move these around in any order that you want them to be in. So that's completely at your disposal. And then you hit Insert Gallery. And now the gallery shows up down here. And if you click on any one of these, it comes up in a light box. So that's pretty nice. And you can close that. Now if we choose that, we can come down and it gives you the ability to edit things. So we could change this to say be 300 by 300. And here's one of the problems. When you get to a certain size, it doesn't really look as good as you might expect you want it to look. So you could just make all your pictures the same dimensions and this would all fit together nicely. We can hit on Update. Go over here. Reload that page. And now you can see what it looks like. And any of these you click on, the lightbox feature comes up and you can just scroll through them just like that. Now, since this has Elementor Pro in it, I'm going to remove this one, hit delete, and I'm going to type in gallery. And the one we want is just called gallery. It's this one right here. It ought to be called fancy gallery, if you ask me. I like it. I'll put that in there, and we do the same thing. We're going to add the pictures in here. And then from here, we can pick the ones we want. Now you can start clicking across. You can scroll down and hold down Shift when you get to the one that you want to be at the end, let's say there. I can hit on Create New Gallery. And now my gallery is here, and if I want to change the order of these, you can just move them around, drag them however you want. And I can also reverse the order if I wanted to do that. And then when I'm satisfied where everything is, I can just hit Insert Gallery. And then it fills in. And see how it has these nice square areas? So you, by default, you have that. That works for you. But if we want to use the one I chose, you go to Layout and you choose Masonry. And you get this really pretty view about it. And then you can hit Update. And we'll go back to our page. And now we hit Reload. Now we get this new one. And I just really like the way this looks. You like that? We're done with the showroom page. So let's go ahead and go to the News tab. And under here, we have 2 different things. So we'll look at Wirenuts first. And we'll look at Wirenuts on Jim Gray's site. And what it's going to have a bunch of newsletters. When we import it, it's going to be missing the top one, the most recent one. We're going to add that one. So we come over here, we can see that nothing's there yet. So let's go back to Elementor. Exit to the dashboard. We're going to choose Pages. And this is the Wirenuts Edit with Elementor. And now we can delete all of those. And now we'll click on the folder. We're going to import. And then we're going to find that particular template, Wirenuts. Drag that over. Insert. Click no. You see it has the teal colored. And if you go back over here, it's got a red one here. Well, this was Volume 5, Issue 1, and this is Volume 6, Issue 1. So we'll come back over to our editor, and each one of the Wirenuts newsletters is in its own section. So if you get down to the bottom of this, here's a new section. So what we can do is we can right-click on that and choose Duplicate. Now we have two of these. Now I can click on that header. I can come in here and where it says 5, change it to 6. And now we're going to click on that. We'll click on the image. And now we need to import the latest newsletter. So we go back to our content. The two red ones down here are the ones we want. So we'll drag those two over. And we want that one. Insert media. Scroll down. Click on that one. Choose image. Choose the second page. Insert media. So see, if you had a newsletter page that was done similar to this, you could just insert those. Update. And we'll go back to our tab. We'll hit reload. Now we have the entire Wirenuts page complete. There's the newest one we added at the top. And there's the other ones. When we do the article page, it's just another example of a different way you may want to do this. So that's what it looks like before we've done anything. And on Jim Gray's site, if we go to articles, we have two articles here. This one has not been added yet. And basically this is a picture that when you click on it, it will download the PDF file. And so there you see it downloading. And then you can open it up and view the article. Well, this is just an example of how you could have PDFs built into your site. When we import this, only one of these is going to be there. We're going to learn how to add the second one. So let's go back to Elementor. We'll go back to the dashboard. We'll go to Pages. We're going to edit Articles. Edit with Elementor. Here's all our default stuff. We don't need that, so we'll remove those. We'll click on our folder. We're going to import a template. In this case, it's going to be the Articles template. Drag that over. Now we'll insert it. Click No. And notice that we just have one of these right now. But notice that there are 3 columns. Well, the easiest way to make the next one is to right-click on this and duplicate. Now we have 2 of them, but we have 4 columns. So now we can right-click on this and delete. Now we're back to the 3 columns. Now one of the problems is we need to have the link to the PDF. And we can't insert it here and get that link at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and update this. We'll go back to the dashboard. We'll go into Media. And now we want to drag our other PDF file into here. So go to our content, and here is the other article cover and the article itself. So we can drag those in. Once the PDF is loaded, we can click on that, and then we can copy the link to the clipboard, close that out, and now we're ready to go back to the pages. Go to Articles, Edit with Elementor, and now right here, we can click on this. And right here is the link. So we can paste in the new link. So now see it's Article 2. And then we can click on the graphic. And we already added our graphic, so we can choose that. Hit Insert. And now the new graphic is there. And the only thing left is to change the header. So we'll choose that widget. Put in the correct text. Hit Update. Go back to our page. Come over here. Reload. And now our article page is complete. So now we're at Contact. If we look at our Contact page, you'll see that it has some default stuff. I've went ahead and made all this in our color combinations, but it basically looks the same. But we're going to have to insert the form, and we're going to have to insert the map. So we look at Jim Gray's, go to his Contact page. Very similar. I just changed the colors and stuff to match. It's got the form, and it has the map with the right address. Let's go back to Elementor. Let's go back to the dashboard. Forms actually have 2 parts. when you're on the internet and you go to a website, you type in a form, you're entering the information into a form. When you submit that form, there's also a form on the server that collects that information and sends the email out. We're going to work on the form that sends the email out first. So to do that, from our dashboard, we're going to click on Contact, scroll down, and we're going to click on Contact Form 1. That's a default form that's already started. We'll scroll up a little bit. And from here, let's go ahead and just change the name of our form. And this is going to be our Contact Us page form. And now I want to be able to make a change to this. I'm going to show you how to make a change to this. If I come in here, if I take this and I copy this email one and I paste it, it basically gives me the format of the way this is going to look. Now I'm sitting out here in empty land and I'm going to click on TEL, that's for telephone, and I'll click on Insert, and it made that tag for me. I'm going to take this tag, I'll copy it, and I'm going to paste it where the email tag was on this one. And now up here where it says email, let's change that to phone. Now notice it says that this is required, meaning it's a required field, you have to enter it. But to tell the form itself it's required, you put a little asterisk there. So the asterisk tells the form it's required, and the text is going to tell the user that it's required. So now we can get rid of that extra space there so everything looks formatted correctly. And any of these other things, you can add these different features to it and just reorganize them how you want. Now at this point, I can hit Save. And the form itself to collect the information is there. Now we want to have the Mail tab send the mail to where it's supposed to go to. So right here, you'll want to put your own email address. This has mine in there, but you can put your own email address in there. And now here, I want to change this, instead of saying WordPress at, it's going to say no reply at. Now by default, this is going to be whatever your website name is. Since I'm doing this special one, it says new.jimgraydesigns.com. And now down in the form, I want to add the phone number, so that shows up. So I can do that. And notice up here, I can copy that and I can paste it down here. And that will make the phone number show up in that email. Now I can scroll down and hit Save. And that form is complete. Since we're going to have a Get Quote page, it's also going to have a contact form. So we want to go ahead and build a server-side form for that as well. So we're going to go back to Contact Forms. And if we highlight that, there's our little duplicate plugin working for us again. So now we have a second one. And let's call this one Contact Us for a Quote. And we're going to scroll down. And the phone number is already in there because we made a duplicate. Now in this case, they're contacting us for a quote, so we don't need to collect the subject because that is going to be the subject. We already know that's what it's going to be. We'll make that change ourselves. But where it says your message, how about we make this a little more descriptive and say, tell us a little more about your project. Now we can hit Save. Notice there's a Save button up here or one down there. They're both the same. We'll save that. Now we go to the Mail tab. And again, all this is set from the time before. However, in the subject, instead of having the tag for a subject, we're just going to put quote request because that's what it's going to be. And inside the message body, the same thing, where it says your subject, I would put the variable in there. We're just going to put quote request. And then where it says message body, if we wanted to, we can change that to say, tell us a little bit more about your project. We're the one receiving the email, so we can make this say whatever we want it to. So now that's been changed. We can hit Save. And both our server-side forms have been made. So now we're ready to do it on our pages. So we're going to click on, oh, wait a minute, something else we want to do. Notice this little 1 here. It wants us to check to see if everything's happy. Validate your forms now. So we're going to click on Validate. And then there's a button here. We're validating 2 forms. And it didn't give us any errors. Configuration validation complete. No invalid contact forms were found. All right. Hit Pages. Now, the first page we're going to change is the contact page. Edit with Elementor. Again, this is their version. Ours is going to look almost identical, except where it's going to have our formatting in there. But we're going to delete all of those. And now we're going to choose on the folder. And we're going to import a page. We'll go back down to our templates. And there's the Contact Us template. Now we're going to insert it. Notice I had to scroll down to get to it now. We got so many of them. Hit No. Now at this point, we have a nearly completed page. we need to put our contact form over here. So we're going to go to our widgets, and if you scroll to the bottom, the one we want is going to be at the bottom, called Void Contact Form 7. And this is basically what allows Contact Form 7 to talk to Elementor. It basically is a tiny little widget that says, drag me in here, and then pick whichever one you want. We'll pick that one. And there it goes. It shows up. And now we have our form, if you enter stuff in. It has a submit button. And now we want to add another widget for our map. So we're going to click on the circle plus. We'll choose that for a single column. Stretch. Full width. And now we'll go to our widgets. And we're going to pick a map. Here's Google Maps right there. And now we have a map. But notice how it has this little border around this edge. We click on that section. We can come over here under columns gap and set the default to no gap. That takes it all the way to the edge. And now we can click on the map. We can put the correct address in there. Let's set the zoom level to 14. That'll bring it in a little closer. And let's set the height of the map to, say, 700. That makes it a little bigger. We can hit update. Go back to our page. Reload. And now we have a form. And we have a map. And you can add stuff to the form. Now I'll tell you a little secret. If you go to send this test message and you send it to yourself, for example, this would go to the same place, it didn't always going to work. So you want to put something other than yourself as the one that's sending it. Otherwise, if you're using Google or something, it might refuse it because it's not going to allow you to send email to yourself. So if you have a problem getting your form to work, try using another email address or send it to a different email address to make sure that it's working correctly. Go and go down, hit send. Message sent successfully. And message received. We're good to go. So now we have one last page to do. Go to get quote in both of these. Now get quote is exactly the same, except there's a little bit of a change in the text right here, and that'll be changed in our template. And then this form is the different form. Tell us a little bit more about your project. And there's also no map. Outside of that, it's identical to our Contact Us page. So go back to Elementor, go to Pages, choose Quote, Edit with Elementor. Page comes in. We'll delete all these sections. And then we'll go back in to our folder, My Templates. Let's upload the Quotes page and drag it over. Scroll to the bottom, Insert, hit No. And now our quotes are here, different picture at the top, text is different, this is different. We need a form here. So we'll go to our widgets icon, scroll to the bottom again, choose that widget, come to the left, and this time we're going to choose the Get a Quote. And now, notice it has the Get a Quote form, and we don't need a map. So we can hit Update, go back, hit Reload, and our quote page is complete. And that means that our website is complete. What we want to do next is to make it mobile compatible with all devices. What we're going to do is make it mobile compatible on the main home page, and then you can use that information to make all the other pages compatible. So let's go back to Elementor, and let's exit to the dashboard. And we go to Pages, we go to Home, Edit with Elementor. And when you make this compatible with all devices, you're going to do it through here. Now, the changes I'm going to show you how to do are for mobile. If you click on tablet, you can see that there might be some changes that need to happen. Looks pretty good, actually. But if you needed to make changes, what we're going to show you now is going to be able to make those changes there as well. When you go to mobile, the first thing you'll notice there's some grayed out lines here, and basically that's saying the intro video is not going to play. So on the mobile device, we don't need this text to wait 17 seconds before it flies in, since it's not going to have an intro video. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on that and duplicate. We're going to right click on that and duplicate. Now with the first one, we're going to go to Advanced, and we're going to choose Responsive, and we do not want that one to show on a mobile device. And then we'll go to the second one, and we'll go to Advanced, we'll go to Responsive, And we do want it to show on the mobile device, but not on the other two. And so then when we go to motion effects for that one, we'll take out the 17,000, which will make it show up immediately. Now we'll come to the third one down. And this one we'll go to advanced. We'll choose responsive. We do not want that one to show up on mobile. And then we'll go to the fourth one, advanced, scroll down, responsive. We do not want that to show up on tablet or desktop. And so then when we go to motion effects, we'll take out the 17,000 on that as well. And that'll ensure that that text scrolls in immediately on the mobile devices. The other thing that we can do is maybe this seems a bit big. So this is on the mobile device. I've got that selected. I can go to Style, Typography, and maybe we just set the font ourselves until we like what it says, and we can just keep going out, and that looks pretty good about there. So you see, we change the size of that based on the needs. And now if we scroll down, maybe we want this text to be a little bit higher. So I can choose that column, for example, go to Advanced, and then at the top, I can give it a big negative number. And see, I'll notice that slides that up. And it's only sliding it up on this particular mobile device. And we can choose Jim Gray Designs, Advanced, unhook those, change that a little bit. And now on this box, let's pick this one. And we want to go into here. For the mobile, let's connect all those. And now that looks like it fits in there nicely. We'll scroll down. That works okay. Keep scrolling down. Now notice there's not enough space here. So I can choose that column, Advanced, disconnect those, add a little margin up at the top. And then maybe I want this a little bit closer. Advanced, margin, take a little bit of that out with a negative number. Scroll down. Looks okay, looks okay. Now, I think that that may be all we need. Oh, here we go. Those are really big waves. So let's choose that one. Let's go into Style. Shape Divider. Now, in the Shape Divider, see, it tells you that it's in mobile mode. How about we just say No Divider on that. And then on the bottom one, we'll set the height to 0. We'll just take that feature out. We'll scroll down. Now on this, I really want that on one line if I can have it, so I'll choose that. I'll go to Style, Typography, and let's add some size until it fits just right. And that should be good right there. That looks okay. That looks okay. Now these seem a little bit big. So let's see what happens. Can we change something about these? Let's go to the column, for example, and let's put a little bit of padding in there. And that makes it a little bit smaller. So I got that at 30. I'll right click on that, copy, right click, paste style. We'll do that all the way down. And now they're a little easier to see. They're a little spread out. And at the bottom, that looks pretty good. And so now this one, when we update it, it'll be mobile compatible. We come back over here and we hit reload. Nothing should have changed as long as we did everything right, meaning there shouldn't be two of these titles. Those titles should show up at the end of the video still, just like they did before. And as we scroll down, everything else should be exactly the same as it was before if we didn't screw anything up. And so that stuff's popping in exactly the way we expect it to. And you really do need to go back and review in case you made a mistake on it to see that the desktop version still works out okay. And if you visit this on a mobile, you'll see that it works out well as now too. So we've reached the end of creating the website. I hope you've enjoyed taking the course. I know I've enjoyed being your guide and your instructor. But as promised, I had 4 really key things that I wanted to add at the end of this video that'll help your website show up in the search engines better. The first tip is that inside of WordPress, there's a place that specifically discourages search engines from indexing your site. Once your website's live, you don't want it to be discouraged from being indexed. So let's fix that. So we're going to go back to Elementor. Exit to the dashboard. And then we're going to look for settings. And under settings, we're going to reading. And this may or may not be set depending on when and how yours was done. And look at that. Search engine visibility, discourage search engines from indexing this site. I definitely want to turn that off and hit Save Changes. Tip number 2. There is an amazing plugin out there called Yoast. Every website that ranks higher than yours probably has Yoast. Also, free. So we're going to go to plugins. We're going to add a new plugin. And over here, type in Yoast. 5 million active installations. Tells you something. So let's go ahead and install it. Let's activate it. Now you have the most powerful plugin for doing SEO available. Tip number 3, secure pages. Google likes websites that have a lock. Google likes websites that are mobile friendly. So if we can do both of those things, we're going to ensure that our website's liked better. So if you click on the link at the top right, it'll take you to a YouTube video that explains exactly how to activate your secure key inside your WordPress website. Tip number 4, you want to make sure the search engines think the value of your website's stronger than any of your competitions. Obviously, having a lot of great graphics and great content in your website makes a difference. Having a really good look and feel like this website makes a difference. However, one of the number one things that improve your search engine results is by having other websites point to you. If somebody else's website has a link to you, that's called a backlink. The more backlinks you have, the more important your website seems to Google. The more backlinks the people who point to you have, the more important they seem, which also means the more important you are. Now, it seems like a lot of work, but if you go to Jose1.com, these guys will teach you everything you need to know about backlinks. That's basically all they do. And if you look at it, Jose1 SEO literally is their middle name, so they know what they're doing. Now, under SEO Solutions, it shows you the basics, the terminology, and the details. They'll teach you everything you need to know as far as making your own backlinks, how it works, how to make the system work for you. And if you decide you don't want to put the time in to build them yourself, you can also contact them. So if you decide to use Jose1 services, be sure to mention the promo code WebYoda, and that'll save you 50% off your first month with a 100% guarantee on that first month. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Now, I truly hope I covered everything you needed in this tutorial. Now, if there was something I didn't mention or you had additional questions, please leave them below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But if I don't know the answer, I'll go, hey, I don't know. But if I do know the answer, I can find the answer, I'll give it to you, and maybe we can work on it together. So I really enjoyed doing this. I hope you had a great time as well. The only real payment I'm looking for, if I could possibly get a subscribe out of this, possibly a like out of this, that'd be super helpful. But outside of that, I just hope you have a great day. Peace out.